Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back. It is book club time, and we are reading Be Your Future Self Now by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Be Your Future Self Now by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, and this recording is for educational purposes only. We are on the 7 threats to your future self. Last video, we talked about the threat number 1 is that without hope in your future, your present loses meaning. And so today we're going to be talking about threat number 2, and that threat is a reactive narrative about your past stunts your future. A reactive narrative about your past stunts your future. So that starts on page 15. The past is a meaning and nothing more. Mike Tyson said everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. All right, so let's get started reading. If you don't have the book, you can just listen along with me as I read it. Or you can go ahead and order the book from wherever you get your books from. This is definitely one to add to your collection. The Science of Intentional Transformation. This is the 5th book that Dr. Benjamin Hardy has written. When I was 16 years old, my mom, 2 brothers, and I took a trip to visit a close friend, Michael Barker, in Sand Valley, Idaho. Halfway through the 5-year evening drive, my mom grew tired. As a new driver, I eagerly offered to take the wheel. My mom lay in the back seat and quickly fell asleep. Within minutes, I encountered a construction site with flashing lights signaling me into the left lane. In the dark rain, barriers blocked construction on the right side of the road, and once the barriers ended, I returned to the right lane. Suddenly, the tires dropped a foot into dirt and rubble. At 60 miles per hour, I instinctively yanked the wheel to get back into the left lane. The car spun into the freeway median and flipped. My head crashed against the window and I was knocked unconscious. When I woke, the car had landed on the opposite side of the freeway. I heard my brother Jacob crying in the back seat. Ben, Trevor yelled, Mom's not in the car. When the car flipped, Mom had been thrown and rag rolled 50 feet across the pavement. No child should see their parent in such a brutal state. I had no words. Mercifully, paramedics quickly arrived and we were taken by ambulance to the nearest hospital while Mom was flighted to an intensive unit. We didn't know if she was alive. While we waited for news in the hospital that night, a police officer came into our room. Which one of you is Ben? As I rose, I noticed a pile of hair on the pillow where I had lain. Noticing my surprise, the officer explained my hair was falling out because I was in shock. He took me aside. Look, this experience could ruin your entire life. I don't know what is going to happen with your mom. But right now you need to make a choice about how you're going to handle this. He told me that the person who was supposed to work the night shift and check the construction zone had been a no-show. More than 150 yards of tumbled construction barriers should have been put back in place. This wasn't your fault. You're not to blame. He helped me take ownership of the situation for myself and my younger brother who needed me. According to renowned trauma expert Dr. Peter Levine, trauma is not what happens to us, but what we hold inside in the absence of an empathetic witness. Let me read that again. According to renowned trauma expert Dr. Peter Levine, trauma is not what happens to us, but what we hold inside in the absence of an empathetic witness. And this police officer was an empathetic witness. He helped me process the shock and pain. He allowed me to cry. He helped me be proactive in how I framed this experience. Everyone has a plan until life punches them in the face. Whatever punches life gives you, your past is just a story. Whatever story you choose from your past enormously impacts your present and your future. When you frame the past negatively, your goals become reactive to and based on your past. Your goals become short-term and avoidance-oriented, where you try escaping the pain of the present. When reactive, life happens to you rather than for you. When reactive, you feel the victim to what life has done to you. Emotional health happens when you contain both a positive past and an exciting future. Having a positive past depends very little on what events actually occurred. What happened to you doesn't matter as much as what story you decide to tell yourself about what happened. Let me read that again. What happened to you doesn't matter as much as what story you decide to tell yourself about what happened. What happened to you doesn't matter as much as what emotions you feel about what happened. Your past is fundamentally a meaning. What is your past? A meaning. Your past is fundamentally a meaning. The story you create about past events dictates what your past means to your present and to your future self. We get to choose what story we attach. We get to choose. Grief expert and psychiatrist Gordon Livingston, MD, said the stories of our lives, far from being fixed narratives, are under constant revision. From a psychological standpoint, time is more holistic than sequential. We often think of time as the past that is behind us, the present that we're now living, and the future that is ahead. But psychology, the past, present, and future exist together, here and now. The past, said the American novelist William Faulkner, is never dead. It's not even past. Despite the fact that our past narratives largely impact our future goals and hopes, our present state is largely what determines those critical past narratives. As we age and mature, we naturally reconstruct memories with different perspectives. We can choose to intentionally reframe a memory in a positive mood, safe environment, and around trusted people. As psychologist Brent Slice states in Time and Psychological Explanation, we interpret or reconstruct our memory in light of what our mental set is in the present. We interpret or reconstruct our memory in light of what our mental set is in the present. In this sense, it is more accurate to say the present causes the meaning of the past than it is to say that the past causes the meaning of the present. Our memories are not stored and objective entities, but living parts of ourselves in the present. This is the reason our present moods and future goals so affect our memories. To have a bigger future, first, have a better past. We get to decide how we frame it. You can reframe and reshape your past narrative over and over. As you become more mature, you'll look on your hardest moments with awe and joy. You'll love those moments for what they continue to teach you and for the meaning they've given your life. Yes, life is hard. Pain is part of the process. Every single person, regardless of their socioeconomic status, race, or any other factor, will experience enormous amounts of emotional pain in their life. Disappointments, dashed dreams, unrealized expectations, something truly horrendous, or the harsh words and criticism too easily uttered. The trauma of our own mistakes, how we handle pain and confusion largely dictates who our future self becomes. How we handle that pain dictates largely our futures, how our future self becomes. If you allow the pain of life to swallow you, then your primary goals become to numb yourself through addictions and distractions because you're unwilling to face and transform those emotions. Funneled effectively, pain and hurt are incredibly powerful teachers. Your hardest moments can push you to truly learn from life and commit to something much better. Indeed, change often occurs when the pain of no change becomes more unbearable than the pain of change. I'm on page 19. So your hardest moments can push you to truly learn from life, I'm reading that again, and commit to something much better. Indeed, change often occurs when the pain of not changing becomes more unbearable than the pain of change. It may take years, even decades, to reframe an experience, or the shift can happen in a heartbeat. The life-giving power is within you. With deliberate practice, you can develop the skill of positively reframing any past experience into a gain. With practice, you can get better and quicker at converting pain into growth and purpose. Your pain can fuel your purpose and lead you to help others. This is what psychologists call post traumatic growth, and it occurs as people proactively face pain and choose to view it with gratitude and appreciation. You have the power to choose the framing of any experience and your narration of it as a positive. Can you feel genuinely glad you went through your hardest moments? Without those, you would know what you know now or be who you are. Strategic coach, co founder Dan Sullivan, and I wrote an entire book on this subject called The Gap and the Gain. The gap is when you measure yourself or your experience against what you ideally thought they should be. When you go through something terrible and you frame the experience in the gap, then life is happening to you and you're the byproduct of your experience. You're the powerless victim of what happened. The gap leads to unhealthy comparisons and a lack of learning from your experiences. The gain happens when you transform every experience into personal growth. No matter what occurs, frame the experience as a gain. Proactively and consciously learn from your experiences and become better, not bitter, as a result. When you go through something terrible and you frame the experience in the gain, then life is happening for you, not to you, for you. Rather than being the byproduct of your experiences are the byproduct of your conscious choosing. You determine what your experiences mean. You own your experiences. They don't own you. Rather than devaluing your experiences because they were painful, you increase their value by learning more and more from them. You also have gratitude for your experiences. In the gain about the past, your future self continually grows bigger and better as a result of every experience you have. When you're in the gain, you are more informed than your former self. You have greater perspective, greater purpose, and greater empathy. Your future self is better equipped because of your past. Following that horrific traffic accident, my mom lay in a coma for several weeks. Somehow, some way, she survived. She wore a body cast for more than a year. Her hair was cut to remove glass from her scalp. The vertebrae in her back was permanently altered, and 2 decades later, she continues to experience intense pain. While in a coma, my mom felt as though she died. She told God she wanted to return to her body so she could raise her 3 sons. When she regained consciousness, she carried a profound sense of purpose to be alive. The nurses who worked with her, continually stunned by her positive attitude, despite continual and excruciating pain, my mom expressed gratitude to be alive. For years, our family struggled to discuss the accident. Yet my mom chose to frame the event as a positive that solidified her purpose in life. She appreciates life's little things, which most people take for granted. No matter who you are, your status, or where you've been, my mom will embrace you. She embodies extreme compassion and care for every person. Aww. Far from bitter about what happened, she's better. Threat number 2 is having a reactive narrative about your past, which limits your future. Your past is a meaning. Your past is a story. How you frame that story will largely impact your future self. And that's the end of Threat 2 on Be Your Future Self Now. And so that is amazing, that story. And one day I will share with you how I went to Costa Rica and I was able to reframe an event that I saw as traumatic and go back in my head and reframe it and change the story completely. Because I decided how I wanted it to end, how I wanted it to be changed. And now I was freed from that traumatic experience because now I have a new version of that experience that has elevated me and provided a lot of empathy, gratitude, and purpose. So one day I will share that with you. If you happen to meet me, I'm Dr. J. I lead the Rich and Radiant Tribe, and I'm excited to have you on our journey of our book club. And we'll probably do another one this week, so stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe and like so you can get notifications of when the next reading of thread number 3 and what it is about. We're learning something, y'all. We're getting somewhere. So take notes and apply what you learned. Thank you so much. Take care.